Good morning to you all, I'm Daniel Miller and this is Destiny 2 Beyond Light. How is everyone today? A very nice sunny, bright day here in London suburbs. And yet again we are starting out with a new adventure here in Destiny Beyond Light. Hope you guys were with us here yesterday and also watched our adventures. I certainly had a lot of fun by trying to neutralize one of the biggest bosses in Beyond Light so far, and I have to tell you it was very, very difficult. We indeed had to be leveling up to 1100 plus in order to get our weapons to be fully ready and available for that obliteration and destruction of one of the generals. But you know, the fact is I was surprised because the difference between 1090 or 1095 and 1102 was absolutely incredible, and I don't like the idea. I think really the grading needs to be a bit more fine-tuned to the actual light level, because if you are, let's say, 1095, 1098, you should not be really as weak as I was yesterday. So it was a bit like a in-game training tutorial, a gaming session through which we were learning how to really eliminate the general, because at the end of the day the difference did not seem to be very significant. Once I applied some of the other weapons that were in my inventory and raised the level to 11 or 2, it was a lot easier. I wouldn't say I just walked through it. I guess I would have had quite a few matches in which I was being defeated and I tried to really get everything sorted, but unfortunately the game was not allowing me to do so, and therefore I had a lot of repeat gameplay. It is a strike, which means you are going to be eliminated and then you have to start everything right from the beginning. So that really is, very annoying. But we had some of our friends from our community here yesterday who were really very helpful and indeed provided me with some tips and advice. I thank Kaboop and Lucia for popping in and having a chat, telling us all that was there to be done. Always greatly appreciated. I'm very pleased to see that we also have some new members coming in. The reason for that is I've been integrating our Warzone gaming here on my channel, and the Warzone community is rapidly growing. I have to say, very, very pleased with the sessions I had so far. I have already several squads in place, people are queuing up in order to get in. That is the kind of situation we've had here with Destiny 1 a little while back, where everybody was wanting to join in, talk to others and make sure that our world was a much better place. It's interesting because one of our really dedicated community members, Sniper King, our friend from, if I'm not mistaken, he is from Texas in the US. He is also running his own streams now on Twitch. I watched his stream last night and he was doing Warzone. Guess what? A lot of people like Warzone because it is a tactical shooter and we have a major, very, very wide map for everyone to explore. best played in permanent squads. I call them steady crews, and basically you will have then your strategies, your tactics, and first of all you have a lot of fun. If you watched us during the last couple of days, you would have seen that we were literally in stitches. So much fun, many jokes, puns, memes, activities, everything was great. Winning, losing, getting killed, whacking the enemies, bringing in new friends, doing with the randoms, everything seemed like really very, very enjoyable exercise. And this is what we want to see here in all of our forums online as far as the video game is concerned. This is what video gaming is about. It is about making new bonds and connections. Although in our team, the vast majority of people were from England, we also had our friends from Italy and Holland joining us. I had some members from Germany joining me on some other days, and it's really great to see these international teams arising. We always have somebody waiting to join us if, for instance, one of us is busy or needs to go elsewhere. As we know, the time is very precious, and I think in the near future we'll probably have to be scheduling lots of different sessions very, very precisely. But the idea is to build that community. I had quite a lot of people coming in for Warzone last year, as well as for PUBG. In fact, PUBG is a very similar sort of game in the overall broad aura of Battle Royale. But if you compare the two, there's one basic difference. Warzone is all about the team effort and consistent orchestrated joint teamwork, right? So what you're doing there is you're continuously and consistently providing revivals, buybacks, you get the loot. It's all down to that 4-man team. If you're getting any a cappella guys in there doing the solo effort, nothing is going to work. The team's going to crack, you're going to lose, you're going to get eliminated. And obviously you need to be able to strategize. You need to have your comms on, you need to talk to everyone, find out exactly what you are going to be doing, map out the tactics. I think once you've done a few hundred matches, you will know exactly what to do with your squad. But then on the other hand, it depends on who's out there, because other people do other things, and the tactics that worked in one instance may not work in another. So that's really, definitely worth keeping in mind. Also, in addition to all else, what you need to do there is you need to analyze every single game. So once we've finished the match, let's say something went seriously wrong, we'll take a breather and we'll analyze what we've done and what actually we could have done better. So it becomes like an in-game tutorial. You watch it, and in fact yesterday I did spend some time watching our stream afterwards, later in the evening, where for the first time in fact I was analysing gameplay here, well not here, in Warzone, and I was really astonished to discover that I was actually learning from myself. From my own stream, and that's a revelation, because generally as I stream quite a lot and stream for very many hours, I really have no time to go into some of it. But I tell you the reason. The Xbox stream has been underperforming on the party chat front, and we could not hear our party chat members properly in the game. So I've spent quite a bit of time during the last 3 days trying to work out what's causing it. We thought firstly it was a party chat in the game, then we considered maybe it was on the Xbox, thirdly we thought maybe something to do with Twitch app. All of that's been sorted, but in fact what I discovered was that all of those settings have to be switched to speaker. I'm not using speakers ever in my house. I'm always using my headphones, but the thing is the headphones are not plugged into the console, they're plugged into the TV, and we'll have to see today whether it works properly, because the voices of our friends were not really loud. They were kind of very, very almost muted, but you could hear them, but not loud enough on the playback. So I really was very, very surprised and disheartened really to find that the voices were not as loud as they should be. So today we'll have a bit of an experiment, and therefore I had to spend quite some time yesterday trying to resolve it. I didn't do any test recordings, but I think as we have very many streams, it doesn't really matter. It is, if you have like one stream a week or one stream a month, then that is like a major issue. But if you have as many streams as I do, then these issues do come up from time to time, and sometimes it's down to the game, because the games will run their own software and their own systems, which will prevent people from being recorded or from being seen as active live audio participants in a live forum due to privacy laws. And I think this is very good, but it needs to be made a bit more clear I had to spend hours and hours really looking for the answers on Google, and the answers were not forthcoming. And I have to say, with the Xbox Ambassador community, please do not copy and paste from others. That's all I can tell you. I've come across like hundreds and hundreds of responses which you're just literally copying and pasting from what is otherwise on Xbox support page. Don't do that. Don't do that, because if you don't know what to do, just don't say anything. We do not want to. I mean, I'm obviously an ambassador and I've helped other people, but I never ever copied and pasted anything from anyone. I always helped those where I actually knew the answers. And hundreds of questions coming in on the responder, and you know nothing. And if you know nothing, you just ignore the question. Do not copy and paste from others, because it's just like a drivel that everybody can see everywhere. And the Xbox Ambassador community is about finding out solutions. So if you go to Reddit, you'll find that people leave answers exactly as they should be, answering a question or not saying anything, saying, I really don't know, I'm very sorry, I tried to help you, but maybe you can contact such and such, another Reddit member. They may know because they're really a tech wizard or, a geek. They know everything about that sort of thing. So that is very, very good. And right, so cutting this short, I think I sorted the settings to the best of my abilities, and we'll have to experiment today once we stream Warzone with two things. One is in-game chat, the other is our party chat here. The thing is, we have to enable party chat on Xbox in order for all of the dialogue to be recorded through the broadcast. So that's essential, and it's different to PlayStation. So if you are a PlayStation owner and gamer, if you want to do broadcasting, you will not have the same issue. PlayStation does have different types of privacy, and they will want everyone who's coming in to be basically entering the PlayStation party, and that party will authorize both broadcasting and recording automatically. There's not any tweaking or fiddling. Whilst Xbox is a bit more advanced, you can have yourself heard and you can have everyone else heard, so you can really take a pick. I think it's ideal if you sometimes have people who are likely to swear, or people who are saying things which perhaps you don't want others to hear. I'm not saying anything which is like hate speech or anything very offensive, but just general, the usual, and that does happen in PvP quite frequently. People get very excited if they lose, if they do wrong things, if they get eliminated, So therefore, you can hear them, and the audiences cannot hear you. Cut long story short, I don't like that broadcasting. That's not really my cup of tea, because it is defeating the purpose of broadcasting live. Broadcasting live on Twitch, YouTube and other platforms is all about interaction. It's about communication. It is about people connecting and talking and sharing ideas and views. And as you've seen with the squad that I have, my friends would otherwise perhaps say a few things off the cuff, but because they know they're live on Twitch, they will literally, by the tongue, they'll be in tune with the rules, and this is what we really want to see, because the game becomes more enjoyable, we become a bit more educational, and we'll have therefore many more people coming in. Don't forget the the games like Warzone, Call of Duty, they're adult games, they're not really games for children, and Twitch is operating very strict policy through which anyone 13 and younger is prohibited from the usage of any of their live forums, and anyone 13 to 18 needs to have a parental permission, which actually needs to be written. They need to have in the profile saying, parents had permitted such and such, and all this. Very few people do that. What you find sometimes, the teenagers aged between 13 and 18, they will not be coming forward with their voices or videos. They know this in America. You will never have a teenager in the US coming up and trying to use the cam and then also audio if they're coming to a live forum, because they know it is a federal offence and they will be facing some very, very serious issues if indeed they're caught, and they could be caught immediately if somebody reports them. So they know what to do, right? And I have no means of knowing when I'm doing through random gamers here, the sessions, who is out there. But I can certainly define who's out there if somebody talks, and therefore I can make sure I'm not participating unless they literally fall within the guidelines. Being a Twitch streamer means you need to be an ethical gamer, you need to be subscribing to the rules, you need to be absolutely in sync with all that the company is requesting. And if everybody did that, then we'd have a wonderful world. But we know full well, like in the community out there, there are people who do not want to follow the rules, and people who do not want to do what they're supposed to. and actually treasure this. They really have a true delight when they start breaking all the principles. My friend Spurs called them keyboard warriors, and I think that's really quite it's a very, very descriptive, very significant term. Keyboard warriors are those people who would not do anything in real life that is seen as impolite or offensive, but once they get on any of the online gaming forums, they rant, they let rip, and we do not want to see that really, and therefore these privacy settings are very important. However, they could be a major bother if you are one of those streamers like myself, where you want to have an easy going stream, just click and everything is working, and guess what, you realize nothing worked in the end. So I think the settings from yesterday are likely to work perfectly, and I'm actually quite glad that some of the things were not recorded, because I did have a few randoms coming in who said a couple of things that are not to be present on my channel, but I have no control over this, and unfortunately we have automated moderation in there, as well as I have one company that does moderate my streams, and the automated moderation will work primarily on the chat. I think in no time we'll have that also on audio. I think the difficulty with audio is that, similar to other robots, and we've seen that not recently but a little while back, where the algorithms were not as advanced, you would have then bans and blockings and all sorts coming up out of the blue for something that actually algorithm misunderstood, right? Sometimes the voices are not properly detected, and do not forget, people talk in international languages. We know that English is the international language of today, but people also speak in French and German, the other languages that are widely spoken, and the algorithms could be misunderstanding if someone's talking in a different accent. Like in England, we have very, very heavy accents in certain regions of our country, and sometimes people who are not even English will not understand what somebody said if he was from a particular part of the country where the accents are so severe. And you've probably heard that any regional English accents from the Isles, from the United Kingdom, will be seen as of concern if let's say films or television series were featuring them, and they were to be going to, let's say, the US. The US markets will find it very tricky, because all of those, let's say, filmed in Scotland, will have to have subtitles, and that will require financial inputs, and also people who will watch that film in the US will not probably understand a word. And I've had actually personal experiences quite a few times where, attending a meeting with an international group of participants, and some people have a difficulty in understanding very heavy regional accents. So I'm talking about the British accents, right, from the Isles, and that could cause also problems with the algorithm. The words could be falsely detected, assumed to be something else, causing a ban, causing suspension, and you know what difficulties that would cause for people who invested many days, months and years in their projects. And I have seen that happening on Instagram, Facebook, and various other forums. I think the algorithms are tweaked and they are becoming more advanced, but ultimately we have a situation where lots of people get banned for no reason at all. Secondly, what we do get is there are lots of people who are supposed to be and should be and need to be banned and suspended, and they're not detected. And like we were talking yesterday at length here about PC cheats, and we've had yesterday several, and we've had on the previous day several, and every day we come across a few teams that are using PC software that's giving automated aiming and automated targeting. These people should not be part of our environment. They're criminals, and they're ruining the activity for everyone. So if any of them were to go to a proper setup, like the competitive esports setup in a store, like we have in Microsoft Store in London, you have 14 different desks. Everything is exactly the same. The consoles, the speeds, the setups, absolutely 100% identical. So when you sit there, now we're going to see your skill, because everyone's using the same thing, right? So there's no prevalence of internet speed on one setup compared to the other. Nobody's using aimbots. So you will see your skill. Go in there and find out, after you've been cheating for months or years, that you'll have a child of 14, 15 who's playing a PG game who's going to obliterate you, because his reflexes, his memory, his capacity to jump on certain activities will be much greater than yours, and you are just a criminal. You're just a person who's using software to big up in a way which is completely unremarkable and overall absolutely detestable. So I personally feel that the companies like Infinity Ward, Bungie, and all the other big AAA game makers will need to really invest a lot more in that safety and detection of these guys. There might be some reasons as to why that's not really as good as it should be, and we were spending some time during the weekend discussing really the whole activity, where in fact we've seen on the rankings, people who are doing the ranked matches and the overall tables, unbelievable figures, like 3 billion kills. Somebody played 150 million games. The game's not been around for very long, so if you've played Halo, I don't know, 55,000 times over a period of 20 years, you could say, all right, well, we'll work this out. It's actually, it's likely. Maybe this is a possibility. But for a game that's been out for longer than a year, having all of that is just ridiculous. And I think the people in the know would require to take further action, because you have really great teams out there, and we watched some really good tactical teams in Warzone coming to the last 3, and then a team that uses aimbots, or just like even one person using some software which is basically cheating, won the game. And a fantastic tactical team of 4 get eliminated. The other guy just races through the final section of the circle and doesn't even look through his sights, just bang, 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 everyone's dead. It is absolutely detestable. We do not want to see that. That's not what video gaming is about. Video gaming is about connecting, interacting, making new friends, socializing, and in fact I just read the report on BBC before I went live. The report was about the incidence of depression, loneliness and solitude in the UK since the lockdown was introduced earlier in the year, and they said that the mental health and emotional health of many citizens has gone seriously downhill. Why? I mean, I understand that being indoors is of concern, but we have so many different means to which we can talk to others through online platforms. WhatsApp, Skype, telephone, Geos, Zooms, online gaming, Twitch, YouTube. But I guess not everyone is in sync with the latest developments, and lots of people are not fully aware of these softwares. In the NHS, lots of appointments are presently conducted through Skype, so you will have pensioners and people who are fairly mature learning about Skype and using it, and they'll discover that this is a fantastic tool. You got it on your phone, you pull out your phone, click on Skype, video conferencing with your son, with your grandson, with your daughter. I have millions of conversations through these apps. I've had them ever since they've been invented, from the first day, and you will absolutely love the capacity to connect with people from worldwide, wherever they are. London is one of the most diverse cities on the planet, and if you go on a bus, you will find that lots of people, even on the top deck, will talk on Skype to their relatives who are in South Africa, in Moscow, in the US, in Croatia, in Italy, in Spain, in Russia. They just literally are on the bus, they talk to them, video conferencing call, and they're indeed sometimes, if they're, let's say, passing to some historic sites, presenting to the relatives St. Paul's Cathedral, Westminster Abbey, South Bank, Trafalgar Square, or anything else which is interesting. What better way to engage but the use of the app? And don't forget, Microsoft purchased Skype for 6 billion a few years back, and Skype was developed by 2 Swedish ingenious computer wizards, and they actually paid, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 300% more, so 3 times more to what the actual value of the software was in the markets at the time, because they wanted to be ahead of the time and they wanted to integrate it with their new phone that was to be introduced, which was a Windows Phone. Didn't really quite work for various reasons, because obviously lots of competitors are there, but still Skype remained a very, very pertinent app for communication in recent months and years. Certainly in the last couple of years, last few years I should say, it has been I guess was it defeated but certainly under pressure from WhatsApp. WhatsApp is another very, very fast, very useful app that's integrated with Android and iPhones. And then the best thing about it is it doesn't really use a lot of bandwidth. So if you're talking on video or if you're talking on audio, you're not really spending a lot of your allowance. And we'll know that a lot of people are not having more than maybe 5 gigs of allowance on their phones, and that's very good, because if you are talking a lot on audio, in fact you will not even spend that within 1 month. So remember that you'll have a lot of choice, but my point in all of that is the report says a lot of people are suffering from loneliness and solitude because they have no physical contact, they don't talk to anyone. I'm just saying, can you please just become a bit more open-minded, pull out your phone, have a look at online apps for video conferencing, Skype, WhatsApp, Geos, Zoom. Use these at all times. Join Twitch communities or just watch streams. I mean, streams are very funny. Younger generation is not watching TV at all. At all. People who are 30 and younger, they'll just watch Twitch streams and YouTube videos. It's just the way it is. The new generations have got new preferences, and people will do different types of things. Twitch and YouTube streams are connecting people together in terms of their personal interests. So it's a bit like visiting a particular music venue on Friday night, going out to a disco on Saturday night, going to a film museum and meeting the same chums that love archive films every single day of the week. It's that sort of thing, just much bigger. It's out there, it's live, makes it possible for you to find chums in any country of the world and people who have got the same sort of interest. So remember, it's all about communicating and connecting. So if you are feeling under the weather, if you find that the lockdown and all the recent activities are affecting you, join those communities. I assure you, you will never feel alone. Never. I did see some streamers who have serious issues on the emotional front, and they received so much help and support from so many people. You watch the Twitch streams, you look at Twitter, all the messages of support come in abundance. Any issues, anything that comes up, they will have their friends and community helping immediately. And if necessary, they'll go on Zoom or Skype, they'll have a conference call, they all talk, the issues will be resolved. It's incredible. Don't forget, as a health professional, I've worked in therapeutic communities for many, many years. And I know what a community is. A therapeutic community where you can provide immediate support if and when necessary. It really works. It is to my absolute and utter disgust to discover that consecutive governments simply thought that this was an old-fashioned model, and we don't have such places anymore. Why? We are social and human beings. Why is it that we need to be living isolated in flats? It's nonsense. I'm absolutely against that 100%. And after the pandemic, I'm expecting a return of such therapeutic communities in the same way as we'd had after the First World War. What was the reason for the creation of such communities? Well, it was very simple. Suffering. First World War brought suffering never ever previously seen to humankind, and there was a need for many millions of people to be supported in such fashion through which they were recovering from unbelievable suffering, stress, shell shock, injury, psychological damage, which is today called PTSD, and many other problems which were arising from that dreadful, ghastly world conflict that indeed was causing difficulties in other areas, such as economic, financial, problems with housing, literally with everything. So these communities were created in order to provide, first of all, shelter and support to those who really were most vulnerable. Secondly, you would have communities that were based perhaps a bit on the principles of religious units like monasteries, where lots of people live together. They don't actually need a lot of financial input, but they will have donations and charitable types of activities where they will have everything they need, and their support will be coming exclusively through the inside of their own community. So the concept was taken from those. However, it was developed in a way that was absolutely focused on shelter, i.e. housing, so live in a safe place where in fact you have no major threats coming your way, because you're vulnerable, and then the therapeutic input, and that means the input coming from the professionals who are providing the care as well as other service users. And I'm absolutely certain, certainly in view of the experiences I've had, that that's the best way through which you can work therapeutically if you are helping somebody in long term. The long term would be anything from 6 months to maybe 3 or 4 years. So keep it in mind, that's the future. And for anyone who is watching on different platforms, remember, you are not alone. You have all of us here to support you, to help you. You need to remember that you just have to install apps and talk to some people. Like we've seen here on Twitch, we did have many people coming in and connecting with us, and then, you know, once they popped in on another day, they had a chat with somebody else, they made new friends, and the community grew all together. It grew for obviously my channel and the people I have here, as well as for those who are participants, because I've had many people sending me messages many months later, years later, saying thank you so much for the forums that you provided. We found so many great new friends in here, and we are lifelong friends. We actually talk every single day. Fantastic. Do not forget, chatting online when you type, as well as talking, is also providing your own psychology to others. So we are well advanced today to recognize the character of the person who's typing something, right? Generally. And you will get to know the person very well, very quickly. Their gaming style, the way they talk, the way they write, the way they spell. So we get to know them really well and fast, perhaps much faster to what you would have done in real life, because it's giving you a bit of a, you know, like an insider's insight. And I just think it's wonderful. I think the way to connect others today during the times of lockdown is through online activity, online gaming, everything else that we do. So remember that you are not alone. Join our forums, join hashtag Xbox Game Club, join PlayStation Game Club, join PC gaming clubs, join any club. Xbox Game Club is a new thing. It's been introduced, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of weeks ago, and it is a club that's sort of tied into the Xbox and Microsoft community, but actually Xbox is testing xCloud, right? xCloud is a new service that is automatically giving you access to all the games through all platforms. So you don't have to have your console at the front of you if you are in a park, pub, up and about. We can't be in a pub today in Britain because everything's closed, but you know, in normal times, you can be anywhere, travel around the world. Pull out your phone, go to Xbox app, go to Xbox Game Pass app, and you click on Destiny 2 Beyond Light. You get it immediately on your Android, and you can play it immediately. So access to the game is no longer restricted just to the console or PC. You can have it on other platforms as well. So the future of the gaming is in cross-platform and in instant access on any device that you have on you. So that's the new thing, right? So what better way to build a community, to join forces, to become less lonely, but simply doing that? Go to Twitch streams, install the Twitch app, open it on your phone, you know, try watching on the channels, and then you will get immediate connectivity with other people. If you're wondering, well, how am I going to make friends if I go to a channel that's got like 75 or 150,000 subscribers and the millions of messages coming in? Well, first of all, you can choose a channel that is suitable for you. So it doesn't have to be one of the most popular. You can go to any channel, watch for the content, watch what people say, watch for, you know, whatever anybody there finds interesting to talk about, and something that people want to share. If you're building a community from start, it's probably the best to go to kind of mid-range, not to people who have absolutely no views on the community members, but not either to those who are massive and big. So find the mid-range streamer or streamers who are providing interesting content and have a community of maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 people who are chatting every single day. I can tell you, I have seen some of my friends there who have very many streamers, very many followers and subscribers, but actually when it comes to chat, it's usually between half dozen people who are chatting. So it's quite easy to get in, to throw in a comment, to ask a question, because, you know, the messages are not literally circulated in a split second, you know, in very, very great numbers. And that's the way you'll be able to connect with others. Watch something that's interesting, your favorite game, let's say Destiny or Warzone or Mass Effect or Oblivion or I don't know, any other Elder Scrolls, Red Dead, and then you talk about what you see. You can talk about the game, you can talk about the interactions that people are presenting in there through chat, you can connect with people individually, and it's all about saying something that is interesting, right? Something that you're interested in, and something you find interesting through the words of others. So that's the way to start. If you keep popping up day after day at a specific time, let's say after you finished work, after you finish college, before you go to work, we've had people here coming up from another time zone in the US. They will wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, just to be part of the channel. They will do some gaming with us and they will talk to us for about an hour. After that, they'll go and have a shower, go to work. So it's just like an ideal way through which they would wake up and become ready for the whole day. And I have to say for myself, video gaming is a fantastic way of becoming very awake, because if you perhaps not fully aware of the fact, video gaming is stimulating your optic nerve, so they're best played early in the day rather than late in the day. You've seen lots of streamers telling you we're playing games at night because everybody's watching and we can't sleep afterwards. No wonder why, because the lights stimulate your optic nerve, you become very alert and awake, in addition to the excitement if you are in PvP and winning the battles. So anyway, if you want to get very awake very early, doing it early in the day is a very, very good idea. Do not misunderstand or quote my words in a context which would say you don't need to exercise and you can just do esports. No. It's the combination of two. You could do a bit of gaming, a bit of exercise, physical exercise, and then you will be absolutely awake and alert. You know, some people like waking up early, some people work later in the day. Depends on their personal preference, and it depends on the biology. Like for instance, I'm not an early morning person. I never have been. I find it very difficult to wake up very early. There were times when I had to be up very early, like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I absolutely detested it. It was the worst time of my life, really, as far as my biology was concerned. For me, the ideal span of activity is from 8 in the morning to about midnight, right? So that's when I operate the best. And I think my peak, when I'm in the zone, is usually between, I would say, 11 to 6. So it's that section of the day. At other times, if I had nighttime activities when I worked in the music industry, basically, I guess my zone would be somewhere between 3 and 9. You're really talking about 6 to 8 hours where you are at your best in a day. We call this working in the zone, right? So being in the zone means that you are at the utmost tip top of your abilities, and you are able to create, to communicate, to engage in a way which is basically giving the greatest productivity in a short period of time, able to complete many more tasks, and you're just literally very, very effective, which means your reactions, your decision making, everything in there will be exactly as it should be. Very fast, very astute, very decisive. If you place that within the world of video gaming, what you will get is doing PvPs, right? Starts out initially with warming up. So have a few games where you warm up and you're not really as yet at the best of your abilities. So about 2 or 3 games, if you're doing them, let's say for myself, if I'm doing them within a period of, let's say, 11 o'clock to about 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the evening. So 11 a.m., 1100 hours and 1900 hours, right? There will be a period very quickly where I feel I'm in the zone and I'll be performing really well. And then towards the end, I'll feel, well, we're coming to the end of my top-notch abilities. I'm getting a bit tired. What's equally important if you're doing it, to slot in breaks, right? So you've got to have the breaks. You can't be just doing it on the trot. And this is something very strongly disputed amongst people who are working in human resources and big corporates. The opinion is divided. You will have the Scandinavian model where they will say working few hours a day is much better because you will be in the zone for a longer amount of time and you have more time to rest elsewhere and you will not feel pressurized, worn out and everything else. That is a very liberal, very relaxed model. We know that for anyone who works, it's right if you work in state-run companies, you don't have the same degree of pressure and responsibility and heat because state-run companies will have subsidies, they will have financial backing from local authorities, from the central coffers. You're running a small private company, you're very much dependent on the results of your own work. So, you will have always issues around finance and worry and the clients and cash flow and all sorts of things, marketing, advertising, running costs, bills, you name it. So really there isn't just like one model, you've got two different models, right? And one might be better for one enterprise and the other may work perfectly for the other. So there isn't like a one flat idea, but it's hotly contested. I think for myself, having a longer stretch of hard work, so for me 8 to 12 hours would be like really seen as appropriate, and for myself within 12 I would say probably 7 to 8 hours is I'm in the zone, but it needs to be like properly pitched within the day, right? But then within that period I have got to have breaks every 90 minutes. The breaks do not need to be very, very long, but really the breaks will be there in order to ensure that I'm rehydrating, getting some fresh air, walking around a bit, stretching, having a breather, and then getting back into the full swing of things, right? That is critical. If you're in the zone, you have got to be doing this, right? So you're not doing it on a trot. And I've got to say, I've seen streamers and people in other disciplines, people at work, burning out completely because they were not taking breaks and they were working very, very long hours. You can work 12 hours a day. You've got to have breaks every 90 minutes. The breaks can be as short as a couple of minutes to maybe 10-15 minutes, but you'll get back refreshed. You will know exactly what to do. If you're a gamer, it's critical you do that. Critical. Do not hammer the PvP matches from one to another. Have a breather after having a few matches. Reflect on what you've done, talk to your community, and then get back in. If you watch our Warzone matches, you will see we have a lot of discussions in between the matches. We analyze things, we throw in some jokes. Sometimes, if other squad mates are a bit pushed for time, we may have a bit of a relentless session. There's always got to be breaks in between. So remember that. If you want to be in a zone, allocate the best hours for you during the day in order to do whatever activity you're doing. Allocate the breaks, and you will be excelling. Please do not start at 4 o'clock in the morning and then stretch until 9 o'clock at night if you are not really a person who's inclined to early days or early starts. And on the other hand, if you are a person who is needing just 5 or 6 hours of sleep, always needs to be like an early riser, well, don't do it late at night. So that's my advice. Talked a lot about this today. Very glad. It's just literally it came along in view of our questions and discussions. I'm very grateful to see that we have Lucio and we have Sekapupu in here. Thank you guys for watching the stream and being our dedicated community members. Always appreciate it. I'm very glad to see that you also are supporting Beyond Light, because I've had some issues with my Destiny 2 streams early in the year where I felt the vast majority of our Destiny 1 veterans were kind of not wanting to embrace the sequel for various reasons, and they're always going back to the original. I think with the integration of the worlds, we are bridging the gap, and I've seen that during the kind of recent weeks, and particularly since Beyond Light's been released, so it's been quite good to see. And Lucia says, I'm on the loading screen, download had finished. So I guess you had downloaded Warzone, you've got it all fully installed. Perhaps you want to join us sometimes. Have you played Warzone already? Maybe you can tell us a bit about what the experience was. Sekapupu saying hello to everyone. Hello to you, Sekapupu. Thank you so much for joining us. Always appreciate it. As you've seen yesterday, I defeated that general and Phylax, right? And it was a bit of a struggle, but completed it. So the next step is the quest coming from Exit Stranger, and that is what I'll do next as soon as we kick off. And Lucia's saying getting in the zone isn't easy as taking a breath. Yeah, I'll tell you what it is. Getting in the zone, or operating in the zone, is a term that has been coined by the senior financial market traders. There's a guy called Mark Douglas, right? And he was the best writer on trading psychology. He was not a psychologist, he was a trader and a person who wrote on psychology of people who work in high stress environments. But his books, he wrote 2 books. One is called Trading in Zone, the other one's called Disciplined Trader. Those 2 books are absolutely phenomenal, right? I mean, as a health professional and a person from the kind of mental health background, I absolutely adore these books. because although he's not a trained psychologist or psychotherapist, he writes about it with such beauty, in-depth analysis, and I would say self-disclosure. He talks about his own experiences of good days, bad days, the best days, the worst days, and you get into the whole idea of what makes him a better person rather than just a better professional. So he coined the term trading in the zone, which would mean operating in the zone, and that would be when you are at the very top of your own abilities, where you are rested enough, where you are hydrated enough, where you are awake and alert enough, where you are doing what you love doing the best, and therefore you're delivering. I have actually a friend. He's I knew him since my early days, childhood and school and all that. He is one of the leading doctors on the planet. He runs a major institute in Canada. He's the clinical director of this institute that works on biological and biochemical research of cancers. He's done fantastic works. He works 12 hours a day, every single day, 7 days a week. He's an absolute epitome of dedicated professional. But I've known him when he was a boy. I've known him when he was a young man. He always worked long hours during the period that he called his own in the zone period, right? So never too early, never too late. He was absolutely dedicated to his work. He never went out for a drink with us. He never socialized with others, He was just doing what he loved doing. But he always took breaks. He took breaks. He told me, I remember that. We were maybe 14, 15 or so. He said, when I go out and train, like in sports, he was playing in a club, I always have to have breaks because I get tired and my mind needs to be cleared. And then, 10, 15 minutes, get a bit of water, walk around by myself, don't socialize at all, just do my own thing, come back, do team sports. So that's the key. So Mark Douglas in his books was describing this, but I can tell you from my personal example, he carried on with that degree of discipline and that degree of dedication, and also within his own structures, which he created. He actually just looked at what he liked, right? He didn't bother about what anyone else told him. He looked at what he liked and what he needed. And that was very, very important for his advancement. At the age of 21, he was already about to be doing doctorate. At the age of 25, he was already a director in a top clinic in Switzerland, and private clinic, which is one of the best ones in the world for that sort of work. But the entire life of his was dedicated to being able to work in the zone. So I think it's very important to learn. It's very important to learn from the best. He obviously has an inherent gift for biology, biochemistry, and everything else. And as such, he is a person who is exceptionally gifted and talented in that particular niche. But his talents, his magnificence, and abilities would never flourish to such degree had he not had this system. And I keep saying this frequently to other people. Video gaming is a fantastic way of learning how to work and live, but you've got to do it in a disciplined fashion. I have seen so many badly conceived articles in press, particularly tabloids and the mass media, labeling certain criminals. Well, the reason as to why he did such and such is because he played Call of Duty. I mean, spare me of that kind of nonsense. Evidently, I read other stories. A gamer in Korea played Call of Duty 3 days on a trot. 3 days would be what? 3 times? It's 72 hours without any sort of breaks and died of a heart attack, right? So think about it. 3 days playing the game, esports, without a break, without sleep, and dying of a heart attack. Well, this is a normal reaction if you were to be doing other strenuous things which will overheat your body if you're not rehydrating, etc. It will happen in any other circumstances. But that's not the way somebody should be playing games. It's not what the games are for. The games are for moderate usage. It's for people who are connecting with others. And I have to say, I played games on my PC for quite a few years, and I'm obviously a mature gamer, as you would have realised, and I had a lot of experience on all levels as the industry was progressing from the beginning in the 90s onwards. Initially, and that's just a couple of years, it's about 2 or 3 years, right? The gaming was very solitary. But you could do, at the time, something that was connecting with others. For instance, I remember playing Police Quest. I remember playing Seventh Guest. I remember playing, what was it? Beneath Steel Sky. Played 3DC, Dig, Full Throttle I played as well. But I think puzzlers were very difficult. Like Seventh Quest had puzzles, Black Dahlia, and no, I remember it was what was the game called? Gabriel Knight. Gabriel Knight. This was a terrific Sierra game, and it had lots of puzzlers in there, you know, like lots of these, and it had a very good story. It was an old kind of the graphics today would not really square up with the very advanced AAA blockbusters, but the content was incredible. Beautifully researched dialogue. It was a kind of detective mystery story with occult elements, and a lot of interactivity with different characters, which I always preferred. Lots of dialogue, which was very funny, but there were puzzles, and the puzzles were very difficult. So what we did, I had a group of friends, and we were all playing the game at the same time. So it was prior to the internet actually being, fully developed and integrated. It was maybe 97, 98 or something like that. And we would then use our phone, right? So we would call each other and then talk about what we did. So it was the first way through which we were connecting and preventing that degree of solitude arising. Then in about a year, I remember Blizzard introduced Diablo. Diablo had multiplayer. Multiplayer had audio. And multiplayer initially had chat. So you could actually chat on ICQ as you were playing the game. So it was another way of connecting. And these things had been progressing so really quite quickly within maybe a period of maybe 3 to 5 years, from being quite solitary type of activity. Although I have to say, like PlayStation, when it came out, it really brought people together. I had my PlayStation plugged into a major LCD projector. So instead of watching it on my TV, which at the time was about 40-inch, I had a projector giving me a picture across the whole wall, like in a cinema, like a massive big picture, I also have a home cinema system, 12 speakers. So what I did was I basically plugged my PlayStation into my home cinema system and also into my projector. So we've had a fantastically atmospheric environment at a time where this was just unheard of. So games like Halo were out of this world, and eerie games like Resident Evil and Silent Hill were absolutely petrifying. They were so scary, I can't put in words. And the reason for that was we didn't have AC3 on gaming yet, like what we have today, or AC610, whatever it is, like a proper digital surround. We had ProLogic, and ProLogic was separating the front from left to right and back. So it was very simple. It's like 3 different channels, right? Or 3 different sections of the actual audio. What it did was it amplified eerie sounds. So for instance, have you played Silent Hill, Lucia? Do you know the game? Silent Hill? I'm curious to hear whether you know it. You can tell me whether you know it or not. Silent Hill happens in a village which is in the middle of nowhere. It's very similar to what we had in Twin Peaks early in that decade. So the Twin Peaks-ish atmosphere. Something happened to a weird town, which is in the mountains. You have fog, you have night, and there are all types of mythical, deadly creatures arising from whatever happened to the town. And this one character is going to he's looking for his daughter. I think his daughter I can't remember exactly the details, but in any case, it starts out with a car crash. He kind of semi-loses his memory. He enters the fog, and then all these kinds of things are happening. Walking through the fog was incredibly scary, right? No, it's hill. Hill as in mountain. It's not like hills, it's hill. So it's a silent hill, and I guess it's a reference to the hill where you have this Twin Peaks-ish type of town that is very eerie. It's very silent. There's nothing in there but like eerie sounds. And just bear with me. Yeah, you can look it up on Google. It's a trilogy. There are 3 different installments of Silent Hill, and if you're on PlayStation, you can just immediately play it if you go to PlayStation Now. They've got the second and the third. They do not have the first one, and the first one is the best. The first one is absolutely top notch, and they made a film based on the game as well called Silent Hill, which I didn't really like. I thought it was a very, very different sort of thing. It was very graphic and gory and everything else. Anyway, coming back to this description. So what did we do? I got my PlayStation, the new one. At the time was PlayStation 1, and I connected it to my home cinema system. I connected it to my projector, and then I tried it with my wife, right? And we find it incredibly scary. She said, I don't want to replay this. And even our cats, we had 4 cats, they just departed from there because we were scared, I thought, hang on a minute, this is going to be a good idea. We bring in people. In the old days in Britain, we had a game called Cluedo. Don't know whether you've heard about it. Cluedo is a mystery game. It's a bit like the old Agatha Christie. You have a murder or some sort of mischief, and therefore we as a group, family members, friends, usually a large group of people, will have to find out who done it. So you have all these questions and cards, and it's a very good game. It was a board game, and later it was also released as a PC game as well. But the board game actually topped it. It was much better than anything else. Anyway, I had this idea. We'll have a dinner, and it's going to be a dinner for friends. And then what we'll do is we'll say, everyone, now we'll introduce you to something quite novel. It's a new invention. Let's go and have a look. And I had several games. I've had a war game, which was Medal of Honor. I had Silent Hill, which was a horror game. I had Resident Evil, also a horror game. But these were like the big proprietary games of Sony at the time, a bit like what we have today with God of War and Detroit. It's the same thing. And what was the other one? I had 6. It's like some family friendly. I think it was Super Mario, and then there was let me think. There was a sci-fi game as well that I quite liked. Cannot easily recall now which one. Anyway, it was 6 games. 4 were kind of PG family oriented, and there was 2, Resident Evil 1 and Silent Hill, right? I had these were horror games, survival horror games. So guess what? All the friends there did not want to play Super Mario, which was to my huge disappointment. I thought it was going to be really good fun, like a family game, and they all want to play Silent Hill. That looks very much like Twin Peaks, and yeah, we want to do that. So I said, well, that's not really for faint-hearted. The game is very scary, and basically when you enter the world of Silent Hill, you will hear all these creepy sounds from behind. But there's a trick in there. There is this creature that flies, a kind of a prehistoric bird-like creature, very similar to the characters from Jurassic Park, and these are flying in the fog, so you cannot see them, but you can hear them, right? And the picture quality at the time was absolutely top-notch, like a razor sharp, and PlayStation had really very, very advanced graphics always, from the word go, literally from kind of the ground up. So they wanted to play Silent Hill. So I said, okay, give us some drinks and everything else, but beware, this is very scary. As soon as you go in the fog, there were some friends in there that they had to run away. It was too scary because they could hear all of that shuffling, all of those noises outside, and they didn't see anything. So what they do is they look at the controller and they keep swinging it left to right to see where the enemy was, and then guess what? This creature would just nosedive on them, bite them, usually bite the head off, and they would just immediately die. But when they were being bit, the controller shook, and this freaked out one of our friends. She literally ran out screaming. It was so funny. I said, you know what, we pull a plug on this. This is just not on. We are not here to scare anyone. We want to play Super Mario. And nobody wants to play Super Mario. No. We want to get rid of this monster. So there's 2 guys in there, and they were literally competing. Who's gonna kill that creature? How do you do that? So as you could imagine, we started when the night was very young, about 9 o'clock in the evening, and then it just went on until very, very late. They still wanted to destroy the monster, and the game was very tricky. Still, I think Silent Hill 1 and Resident Evil 1, these are the games that literally had created the entire survival genre. So, all the games like, what's it called? It's not Dead by Midnight. The big one. It's my brain shriveled. The recent survival horror games actually are all based on the same concept. It's just that it's a bit more advanced. The graphics obviously much superior, and they really worked on the motion through which you are going to be using the same idea, but in an environment which is like an open world, many more threats, but the idea is the same. The idea is you've got to be able to survive. I played Walking Dead recently. It was very good, and Dead by Daylight, that's the game. That's really very, very much based on the concept I've seen in Silent Hill and Resident Evil. And our friend Lucia says, of course I know Cluedo. It's very, very popular in France, and it's very funny. Very glad to hear it, because Cluedo is a terrific game, and it is similar to Trivial Pursuit, a game where you are engaging, an entire audience, everyone who's attending a family dinner or so, and it's been created with this in mind. You can get it on PC. It's equally good, and you can play it with other people. It's like a multiplayer. So I highly recommend it. I love Cluedo, and in my younger days, when I lived and worked in therapeutic communities, we played Cluedo, Monopoly, and Ludo, and what was the other one? Trivial Pursuit. These are the ones we played all the time. And these were the evenings where people really socialized. None of these vices that we have today were accessible or present. And in fact, in the community where I lived, we had no TV either. And that was in order to enhance the social elements and activities. And we had plenty of those. So really, I've seen it from all ends really, and very, very happy to have been a participant. But coming back to the games are giving you that capacity. You can be entertained, you can be scared, you can be excited, like what they said in Xbox videos. They said, be a hero. And I was using that be a hero during the early days of COVID pandemic, because staying at home, joining online communities, be a hero was the slogan, which meant that by being at home you were protecting yourself, protecting your loved ones, particularly your parents and grandparents, and also you were being a hero both by doing that, being socially responsible, fully aware of your health and the health of others, the loved ones and your neighbors and relatives, everyone else. In addition to that, you have become a hero by playing the Master Chief Collection, by doing Gears of War. You enter that world, you become a hero by defeating all the enemies. So it's an interesting concept, and I certainly enjoyed being a full part of it. And just to bring it back to all I talked about, it is all about connecting. So doing video games is not about being addicted, being a person who's hammering the games 24 hours a day without any breaks. It's about doing it in a measured way, where you are connecting with others through Twitch and YouTube or other platforms. You build your communities, you have a lot of fun, and then you leave, and then you come back. It's very important to have breaks. It's very important to enjoy the activity for what it's supposed to be. You will find the biggest bosses of the main companies like Phil Spencer of Xbox, or what's his name, Casey Hudson from BioWare. They will tell you, we are creating these massive open worlds for people to enjoy for days, months, years ahead, but we do not want people to be sitting there all day and hammering it, and particularly the PvP games, because they have this addictive component. You want to win a match, you want to get better. You tell me, did Cristiano Ronaldo become what he is today at the age of 36 when he was like 14 or 12? He didn't. He couldn't do this in one day. It had taken him 10, 12, 15 years of continuous training and exercise, with breaks, with enjoyable activities elsewhere that were not connected to training. That made him big. Obviously, he's a genius sportsman, he's a fantastic football player, but it was the structure around him, similar to my doctor friend that I described, that actually made him great. So remember that. Anyone who is thinking of becoming a successful professional, excelling in your discipline, you have got to keep this in mind. Told you all about various things which are and perhaps not gaming related. What I will do is I'll crack on with some activity here in Destiny. I know that our friends Lucia and Sekapoop are itching for some more action. I'm itching to find out what Exostranger really wants. and I've seen the ideas that she said yesterday, but I'll go through that again today, and I will pick up the quest and we'll do a bit more activity. Later we'll rejoin our friends for Warzone. So we're keeping the beacon for Destiny here on everyday basis. I'll have my sessions every single day for a few hours, and then we'll migrate to Warzone. Warzone is actually building a community as well, so you know, it's an interesting combination of the two. I think Destiny will be delivered early in the day and Warzone will be delivered in the afternoon. So that's the idea. That's the way it's going to be for the time being. I'm a bit sad that I don't have enough time for other games really on Xbox Game Pass and PS Now services. There are lots of interesting games. I've looked at them and unfortunately did not have time to go through it all to play a game, you know, and enjoy it in full. But I'll tell you on another day about quite a list of those I can recommend. I mean, to summarize, I want to recommend to everyone, first of all, to join our Xbox Game Club. Xbox Game Club is not Xbox specific. It's about people who are avid gamers who want to share their views and ideas on certain games, and you will know that the vast majority who are playing on PCs can also be a member of that community, because Xbox Ultimate gives you the ability to download specific games to your PC, like for instance the Master Chief Collection, Gears Tactics, Gears of War. So if you like playing those games on PC, you can, but you've got to be a subscriber, right? So that's the catch, I guess. But you can try it for $1 or £1 a month for the first month, and you can find out whether you like it. I think it's the best way. It's been the best way for me already for several years, and you can also try all the games for free. You've got a subscription price of $10.99 a month, and you will be getting then access to all these games. And you know, think about the money. If you bought The Division, Beyond Light, Destiny, Watch Dogs Legion, Valhalla, all these kinds of games, well, you would still have to pay £500-600 for, you know, at once. Valhalla is not as yet on Game Pass, but it will come. The Division is not as yet on Game Pass, but it will come. So, you know, all the other games like Elder Scrolls Online and Gears of War and Master Chief Collection, obviously you can pay £150 if you want for the pack, but I much prefer to be able to access them instantly on all platforms through my subscription. It doesn't cost me much, and I've got instant access from wherever I am worldwide. So that's my personal recommendation. Join the Ultimate, try it. If you are perhaps in possession of some disposable revenue, if you have, you know, a bit of cash, join also PlayStation Now services, because two combined will give you more than 1,200 games instantly accessible. Think of games like Bioshock, Grand Theft Auto, God of War, Control, just to name a few, PUBG. All of those are present on these platforms, and you have many games you've never heard of. Fantastic fighting games, RPGs, the games with interesting content that have not been advertised. Xbox Game Studios is also promoting many indie games. We played, for instance, Oxenfree during this weekend. Oxenfree is an indie game that was made by the professionals from Disney Studios and Telltale company. So they really kind of comprise the two worlds together, and it really absolutely best possible to the best possible result. The game is incredible. It's very funny, fantastic dialogue. It's, you know, just the best. It's a game that the family can play together, and it's both entertaining and funny and scary, and it's a coming-of-age game, similar to films like Stand By Me and Almost Famous, you know, so most highly recommend. Anyway, they are supporting lots of independent games, which means the games are not receiving major promotion, marketing, or anything else elsewhere, but the Xbox studios are actually providing them with a platform for people to explore, right? So every week we'll have a game of the week on Xbox Game Club that's introducing something of that sort. This week we have a blockbuster, and it's a big game that is also exclusive to Xbox, called Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves is almost identical to Destiny in its community content, and the concept is just the same. No game guides, no in-game tutorials. You've got to squad up with others to teach you what you need to be doing. Go to high seas, conquer islands, defeat enemies. It's a beautiful game. It is very funny. The characters are very lovable. Looks a bit like something out of Disney cartoons. and the best possible. I'm going to be doing Sea of Thieves later in the week, but at the moment, we really want to kind of get things going with Beyond Light and Warzone, and then towards end of the week, ends come the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we'll look at Sea of Thieves as well. And I want to introduce it to our Destiny friends because Destiny is a game that indeed has been drawing many participants from worldwide because it is a community-based game, and Sea of Thieves is exactly the same. I felt that perhaps it wasn't properly recognized. It did have a major marketing budget. We get lots of adverts on Xbox, but I'm not sure whether others, people who are toying on PC or PlayStation, were equally entertained by the notion of trying it because it's just another Xbox exclusive. That's no longer the case with xCloud. You are going to be able to download it to your PC and play it on Android, so try it. It's not a difficult game to play. It's not like a game that requires massive fighting skills. It's all about squadding up with others, having fun, and doing it together as a team. So we really most highly recommend it, and I will be introducing it later in the week as well. Right, I think now is the time to do some action in here because at 2 o'clock I'll have to migrate to Warzone, and I'm thanking Lucio and our friend Sekapupu for watching us and for indeed contributing. Always appreciated. I'll take a very short break now, a couple of minutes, and then we'll crack on with some activity in Destiny. We'll try to complete the next task given to us by Exo Stranger. Really quite curious to see what this is going to be. So stay with us. I'm going to be taking a very short break. As you could see, it says 98 minutes of broadcasting, and I always take my breaks every 90 minutes. So very important for everyone else to do the same, and then we'll crack on with a lot more activity here. So stay with us. I'm back in 5. Alright my friends, the time is now for us to try some of the adventures here. Warlock Human Male, DRBMiller. As said, we yesterday approached the Exo-Stranger right at the end, and we are now going to be talking to her. Before then we'll do some admin. I've seen that Sekopupu reminded me that the new season started today. Thank you very much Sekopupu for this. I have seen some adverts coming in indicating the season was kicking off from today, and I'm not surprised because we are talking about 1 week after the launch of, what is it? Yeah, roughly a week after the launch of Beyond Light. Also, well, you know, Beyond Light is now a very, very vast immersive game. There's so many different things people can do in there. Seasons are now becoming a bit of an option, you know, because there are so many things to do in there. Who wants to be just grinding the seasonal content straight away before finishing everything else? And I think that's the way it needs to be. That's really what I think is the best way forward. Also, we are getting on Xbox Game Pass some of the content. You know the concept? If you bought the season, you will get everything. The free content as well as the prime loot. If you bought just if you are just a subscriber and you had not acquired the separate season pass, then you just get half of it, which is basically the free content. I think it's good enough. I'm not sure whether Sekopupu and Lucia have played Warzone, but what happens in Warzone is 2 days before the season ends, then you get all the loot that you unlocked. So if you unlocked everything, like 100 lots of loot, which is both free and pay for content, you will get everything inclusive of pay for content just before the season ends. So it's very important to be grinding and unlocking everything because you will get it all in one whack literally towards the end. So I think this is a really good approach. I really applaud Infinity Ward for this, and Destiny's still not doing this. And don't forget, Destiny is presently like a free of charge game, and you know, it's available also on the platform through which people are accessing it on subscription, so they need to have some means through which they'll monetize. And you know, there have been some comments and views and concerns about this coming from the community, but I really think that everyone needs to understand, if you're offering a product free of charge, there has got to be the way through which they will make money with in-game activity. It's just as simple as that, whether you like it or not. And what's important is for that content not to be affecting the gamer abilities. That's critical. All the skins, all the ads-on, you know, they're all alright. And in Warzone we've seen, for instance, an infinite number of outfits. And I have to say, we were toying yesterday with the idea of all of us getting the same sort of outfit, which is not really military style. And our friend Spurs and I think it was Fermento, I can't remember, there was somebody else in our team yesterday. They have Leatherface, this scary monster from, you know, Texas Chainsaw films, and they said, well, would it not be cool if we were just all of us having that outfit? It would, but there is one downside. The outfit is detectable from very far because what you're wearing is very visible, and that's the same problem with some other outfits. They look funky, but they actually give you away, and they give you away for the snipers, you know. And if there's a reason as to why we have khaki uniforms. In the past, the armies of the world were having different types of colors, and they realized even with bow and arrow, if you're wearing like a red coat, you were visible from miles away. If you are just, you know, wearing like the sandy type of uniform, which was applied next, then you can just dive, and if there's sand or, you know, any kind of foliage, you would mill in with it. And then they worked out, well, actually it's better if we have like a proper foliage on the uniform. So when you know, when you go prone or you go down, the environment will be hiding you automatically. Well, down to preference. I think if you're having fun, it really is cool to have funky outfits, and I like talking to people with funky outfits. In Destiny, in Warzone, in Call of Duty, in any game, Apex, you know, where it's seasonal content, I love that. But I have to confess, I had not bought even a single funky outfit by my own money in any of the games. I was just waiting for that to come to me. Being an avid collector and a gamer, you have to understand, I'm not dedicated just to one game. I have thousands of games of all sorts, and you know, I always look for the best bargain, the best way of getting the game. And I told you recently with one of my personal favorites, tactical shooter, The Division. We literally almost had everything for free on all platforms because they realized the actual time where they were able to charge a lot of money for the base game has gone, and they offered it on next to nothing. And in fact, I had both of them on PlayStation. I purchased them for less than £10, £5 or £6 per game. And on Xbox, I got one for free, part of Xbox Gold, and then the other, which has unbelievable amount of content similar to Beyond Light, got it for £3.20. It was a special offer, and the special offer was, I guess, given to us. There was some seasonal content introduced. It was during that week that we were able to get it for £3.25, and for £3.25 you're getting a game of Destiny size. It's it's just literally it's a no-brainer. You really want to have it. Well, these are the times, we are able to get fantastic games and good bargains. EA, the publisher of Ubisoft, they also have fantastic games on EA Play. So if you are, I know that Sekapupu is an avid PC gamer, you can subscribe to EA Gaming and you will get all the games that they have, and there are about 70 presently at offered. You will get them on the price of about £3.99, so that's about €5 a month. It's a no-brainer. And for us on Xbox, I think you are on the Ultimate. You would have seen that EA has been integrated in the Ultimate, so I'm saving money this month. I'm not paying any more $3.99 and $10.99 for two of those subscriptions together. They integrated. I'm paying just $10.99, and I actually acquired extra 70 games from EA. They're part and parcel of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. So really a no-brainer. You really have to subscribe and try it, at least for that. I mean, what can you buy for $1 or £1? You try it for 1 month, and then if you don't like it, you discontinue. So it's almost for nothing. It's incredible. I mean, I remember those people who were queuing up, and before midnight, before Call of Duty Modern Warzone was released, not the recent one, but the original, and you had like 3-mile-long queues outside shops, and they were just queuing up and waiting to get in to get the game literally at midnight when the game's released, and had to bring in extra security and police, and because of the crowds. These days are gone. You're getting such games through either instant access, pre-order, preload, or you get them on Game Pass subscription. So that's it's fantastic. There's never been a better period for gaming. I would say with my Bravia setup today, it's very similar to what I had almost 20 years ago, even more than 20 years ago, in fact, when I introduced the projector to my home cinema setup, and then I had this massive big picture. Obviously, the picture quality in Bravia today is a bit more advanced than the picture I had then, but it's just the best way of doing it. Massive big screen, fantastic quality graphics, beautifully immersive games, and in addition to that, you get subscriptions to streaming services where games are instantly accessible. You can't get better than that. I keep saying this all the time. I mean, people who are against it, I think similar to my friends who are still thinking that films should be on reels, the time of films and reels is gone. It's not going to come back. And, we got to have everything on digital. It's instant access. The prints don't cost. The actual licensing is, still offered on high prices, but you don't have to pay for the prints. It's a no-brainer. And I have actually some friends who do not want to go to cinema because cinema's gone digital. Well, we need to kind of catch up with everything that's happening out there. And I've had some friends here saying, I don't want to really do any of these services because I want to have a physical copy. Absolutely. Purchase the top-notch special edition, the biggest one, the most expensive, and you will get a statue together with it. You will get a book, you will get everything in it, which other people are not getting. But if you want to have a base game, download it, bro. Just go and simply click on preload because you'll be able to play it instantly. You do not need to be queuing up anymore in the queue before midnight. People were actually erecting tents, believe you me, 2 days before they came in there to get copies of Halo or Modern Warfare. Can you imagine this? Erecting a tent? But that's the way it was. And when you talk to them, they said it was the best time of their life. Why? Because they met so many people out there as they were queuing up. They all talked about the same game. So that was for them the way through which they socialized, teamed up together. It was the way they built their own community. Guess what? 3 guys who were there in the queue next to him, they also talked to him, and they became like a squad. They were doing Halo, and Well, fantastic. But these things could be acquired today with ease online as well, as we've seen here with Warzone and Destiny. So I would advise those people who are perhaps a bit cagey, at least to try it. Alright, so enough talking, and now there's going to be some action. We need to go to the tower first of all. I picked up a lot of loot yesterday, and I should be able to get some leveling up as well. Yeah, I think Lucio said he is having his lunch. Good for you, sir. My lunch will be delivered a bit later today, I think. Actually, I didn't go out for dinner last night. I watched football, and today I'll go out for dinner. But I need to have something to munch on in between my sessions. I got up a bit late today, and do you know why? Got a bit late because I had to be tweaking the sound problems on Twitch. That was annoying. I couldn't really find a solution, and really mad. I think the solution with speakers should really sort it. It's just based on settings, and it's illogical. If we're using headphones, why should we have all settings left on speakers? But I think it's more to do with the notion that profanities, swear words, will be heard through somebody's television screen when the speaker is on. So that's probably the reason as to why they're muted. I have to see. The idea is that the headphones are just on one person. You know, I guess there's logic behind it, but right, let me see first of all what I've got. 1102 is the top power level at the moment, right? So what's this? 1104, 1114. Okay, we need to really get that. This one we get rid of. Sovereign, we have 1101. That's better. Oh, no, I nearly got rid of it actually. 1071, 1101. It's the same one, isn't it? Hang on. Yeah, I think Philomath. Come on! Just a minute. Sovereign? Looks the same. 7, 1108, we want a lot more. Get rid of that one. It was really great to be up from 1050 to 1105, and I've got to say, these rewards were very got them. 1112, 1112, oh that's very good. I need some, now I really need some, you said I need escalation protocol. I don't. I need upgrade. Yeah, just saying that it just went on last night with those settings, and I went to bed than usual, so I was very angry because I'm an early night, around midnight, and then I get up very early, and we can do all this. There's nothing worse than starting late. Just the perception of the day activities, and I have to say it a few times recently, but my preference is being up around, and then do whatever necessary to be ready for broadcast. And Bond of Forgot 1107, 1090, nothing. These are giving us 1106, 1108. Right, that's not too bad. Sure. 17. Oops, yes. We are going up, as you could see, falling. This one's not very good. Treasure's Fortune, 115. What do I do? I'm not reducing it just by one. It's going to be nice. Good. You know the other thing about playing to Xbox, that I could not see it live on screen, right? And I worked out Twitch app, this is not possible. They do not allow it. The app is not allowing the chat on the screen. So I've got to have a second device with chat in order to be able. It actually causes me difficulties looking at this separate device. Well, to my right, it's not in my line of sight immediately. And then also have like placed some of the currency located on bar, but that's not the case. I have to be looking at. So I realize if my responses are, but ideally I would need to have that TV next, and then Android apps. A big one next. Believe you me, TV is so that decision, and on the previously, actually I can not describing of this. it is just, and also I you know, stand. I don't sit back and overall, and that makes it also a bit difficult to be concentrated device. Okay, that's so friend Katie, because he will have items that perhaps will be of assistance. Nanny actually 211. 1116, especially about that. These ones are not necessary. Better weapons after defeating that general. I'm still light side of the names, I have to apologize. What has she got, if anything? Okay, this bind has been complete. One, isn't it? Yeah. Turn to Exile Stranger. Talk to her. Oh, doing everything which is beyond light related. I'm not doing anything else. Some people asked me yesterday for the Crucible and for Gambit. Now we've got that complete, because completion will unlock other, and that's the up for a soul. 1 out of 8. One of the. You see this? This is a quest. Actually, that's come in. Sekapupa, are you watching? Is this quest related to Beyond Light, or is that something that I just kind of forgot to do previously with Shadowkeep, Vanguard Communications? I'm not sure. A quest? Okay. So the night cycle is good. That was that good. The new on our earlier streams, exotic, so you can really pick up a loot on related to the game. Yeah, then but it's which grind it up and very grindy up, and then you have all hub. Well, re-pulled the missions, wasn't he? I think it was. I thought it was. I don't remember exactly. Yeah, that's your quest archive. When you go in, you'll get all the other quests. New light and campaigns, season and ritual, exotics and legacy. So let's see, new light and campaigns preview. New light, the Guardian Rises. So that is the new campaign, a new quest I should say, part of the original campaign. That is the first step towards Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 integration. And anybody who is anybody who had completed everything on the Warlock, like myself, doesn't have to be going through the creation of new characters, but can simply go to this terminal and then click on Guardian Rises, and you will be entering it. Sekapupu told me about this yesterday, because Sekapupu was looking at it and obviously completing it, and it's part of this new system. New system is allowing us to be replaying all the older missions, as well as we can get quests for all the exotics, and that's terrific because nothing will disappear with seasons departing. And I also watched last night Sekapupu. Sekapupu said it's the seasonal content and it's the first mission in the free, for free, literally given to everyone. Yeah, so it's the seasonal content, but it's the seasonal content of last season, isn't it? It's not really connected to the one that's starting today, because I've seen it already popping up on Tuesday last week when Beyond Light kicked off. What I was I going to say is this Guardian Rises quest basically is integrating Destiny 1 with Destiny 2, and this is the first step in a line of many. We'll have the entire world of Destiny 2 integrated here. They will not be doing any other sequels or other installments. All will be done in one big Destiny universe. And Sekapupu played it and told me that Shohan is the new character, who is basically like an in-game tutor, an in-game guide, telling us all about literally everything in our Destiny world. So I'm quite curious to see this, but I think I want to be completing our campaign on Beyond Light first, and then we'll go through all the other novelties and niceties. So that's the beginning of it, right? And then campaigns in here, if we preview, we can see there will be quests related to campaigns. Presently I've not done any, therefore this is all bare. Seasonal ritual, quests related to seasons as well will be replayable, as well as ritual playlists. So you get these that are related to strikes, crucible and gambits. That's new, and it's quite easily accessible here from the tower. So these are the what's this? Past? Yeah. So these are the quests from the past, and you will be able to pick them up in here and then do them in the same way as you are going to access those exotics I just described. So it's the same sort of thing. And this is your past exotic gear, right? So you need to pick them up from here. Tech Mechanica Tournament, Wish Ender, and Blast from the Past. And I also want to say to Sukupupu that Destiny will be very shortly cross-platform. So you will be able to join me here on any platform that you're going to be using. Your PC, your PlayStation or Xbox, I know you have all of them, but you'll be making it much easier for the rest of our community, because I've seen that some of the PS members were not coming in as frequently because they felt they couldn't really easily come in. But that will be resolved with cross-platform access. Sukupupu, you can also pull out your phone and install Xbox Game Pass app, right? Install it straight away, right now, and you will see that the first game that's available there to play on your phone, which is accessible on your phone, is Destiny. So try it and have a look. Toy with it a bit, have a look whether you like it. If you have tablets, you can also do the same. Install the same app on the tablet if it's an Android tablet, and you can try it in there. Just have a look and see what it looks like, you know, whether you like it and whether it does have a flavor. I think the instant Android access will be game specific, be game dependent, because some games will have a kind of better speed quality, and some games will have on-screen controls. That helps, you know, playing it on your phone will be easier. On the other hand, they already invented a device which is similar to Switch. Don't know whether you've seen it. You basically insert a device on both sides of your phone. It's Wi-Fi or Bluetooth connectable, and what you have is the controls will be left to right. So it's very similar to Switch. You know, it looks exactly the same, but actually you don't have Switch. The phone is in the middle, and these will work well. You know, they will work well. Take a bit of time. They're basically ideal for people who are traveling on buses and public transport, or for instance if somebody wants to play a game as they are doing something in the bathroom, you know. Not to say that they play it in the bath, well, some people may play in the bath as well, I don't know, it's possible, but you know, to catch up if you move away from your TV screen and you want to really carry on with certain quests. I thought that's the best for farming, for harvesting, for collecting materials and that sort of thing, rather than doing the Crucible, Gambit or PvP activities in other games, because I think the speed will be of importance. But it's worth trying. I mean, I played PUBG on my tablet for a year and it performed much better than on consoles or PC, I thought at the time. And do you know why? Everybody was using the same speed. When you're on a PC, the processor speed as well as the internet speed affect your performance. On a tablet, everybody had everything the same. So I appreciated it. Kapupu on, you're curious to hear, providing with the feedback, I'll be able to feed it back to you. And we're glad to hear you. It's literally been launched last week. Destiny Beyond Light and through X, absolutely terrific. So this is the vault. I don't need to get anything so very cheap. And in here we'll have a larger archive of exotic gear, archives, Red War exotic, Forsaken exotics, we have Shadowkeep exotic. If you click on these, you will get all of them. You can see I've not been particular with these. I have neither, but the rest they brought in. We'll have Forsaken here, which I've not really been harvesting, and then we have also Shadowkeep. So you know, that's always the activity. If you are running a high quality community content, because guess what? So for instance, let's say Rondo and say exotic quest, can you please do it? We'll say yes, and we'll do it together as well. So you know, really a very good community. Don't do this by this is not created for people to be doing it in order to get a proper team effort. So everyone needs to get it done in the teams. A lot of legacy gear as well. So you can see every will have some of them. If you keep one of those top power level, always will have to be. We've got all of these. This is our new vault, our monument to lost lights. built in honor of those who sacrificed their life to defend humanity, created in collaboration with Cryptarchs to help and more lost keys. Just which will do them, but quest. I mark my campaign first here. Beyond Light is the priority. So destinations. Next step to Exo Stranger. So this is. Traveling to Europa, and I have to say I absolutely adore the vision on Bravia. It looks extraordinary, so beautiful and colourful. Reminds me of the early days of Star Wars as well. Okay, so where's Exo Stranger? Let's see. Exo Stranger is not far. What's happening? Where are our chums? They've gone. Isn't this ridiculous? Just as I was about to approach the next quest, I'm being kicked out. The game crashed. And actually, I was able to get back in straight away, so that's good. Our friends have gone. Sekapupu, do you know, why is it that the friends are not there? Or is this me? Let's see. That's awesome. Did you see this, Sekapupu? Did you see this? We did not have this before. Did you see this? As I walk, I'm leaving my footsteps in the snow, which means the enemy will be able to track me. This is brand new. This is an addition to Destiny World. We've not seen this before. Do you know what? It's going to be very important to use sparrows. See this? I left all the tracks in the snow. And unless it's snowing, actually it is snowing, the tracks will be there for a little while, which means enemies will be able to detect me. Have you seen this, Sekapupu? This is extraordinary. This is a wonderful addition to all else, which is very immersive. And they're just upping the quality with the graphics and everything else. Alright, let's see.
Aramis's presence on Europa is not happenstance. Temptation set the wheels in motion, but obsession propelled her here. To destroy the light with an army of darkness, she and her followers make those selfish choices moment to moment. The darkness places a spotlight on our desires, as it once did me and those I cared about. For a time, I had forgotten. Humanity relies on our selfless acts to bring about a better world. Darkness is no more than a tool with which we do so. With splinters of darkness still in hand, Aramis remains an immediate danger to humanity. Look within. Focus your power. Let it grow. The ziggurat awaits.
The ziggurat awaits. The Exo Stranger is thrilled. Not only did you accept the power of stasis, but you put it to use by taking down Phylax and retrieving her splinter of darkness. Continue working with Varix to track down the next member of Aramis's Dark Council. So Phylax was the general, had some difficulty in eliminating him, and Sekapupu said he was also spending about half an hour, 45 minutes doing this, but he had better light level compared to me. Continue working with Varix to track down the next member of Aramis's Dark Council. Once you get a hold of the splinter, the Exo Stranger can use it to enhance your own, which will in turn strengthen your proficiency with stasis. But do not get carried away. You have a way to go before you can face Aramis. Now that you've accepted stasis, you must learn to resist the temptations of the darkness and use it solely for the good of humanity. With that, she hands you back your splinter, now infused with Phylax. What's that? Oh, readying it. I couldn't read it for a moment. With that, she hands you back your splinter and infused with Phylax, readying you for the next stage of the stasis. Well, the stasis we acquired was quite primitive, and if you've seen what I've done with Phylax, I did use it on Phylax, and I think Phylax was affected by it, but didn't seem to freeze in full, right? When I was actually, Sekapupu told me I didn't know how to use it, but when I watched my stream on replay last night, I did see that Phylax was frozen and therefore suffered from some side effects. It was only one falling guillotine hack that actually killed him, and he had like 1/4 left of his life. So that did tell me that stasis did work. It's very, very debilitating because you're suffering from the side effects of it when you get out. So that's probably what happened. Okay. So Junior Enhanced Splinter of Darkness at the Ziggurat in Beyond. Okay, so we'll pick this up. The next step is before us. It's unlocked. Right, so we'll basically summon vehicle and we'll go there. Our adventure in Beyond Light is continuing, as you could see. Okay, we need to pick up the flag, I think. Salvation beckoned. Commune with the next crux of darkness in Grey Exoscience.
This power,
Okay.
this stasis. I'm worried it's taking more of a toll on you than you realize. I'm able to bring you back from death with the light, but I may not be able to if this power consumes you.
So, it's been attuned. Carry on. Go elsewhere. It's just that the experience of Europa is very... I'm sure Sekapupu and Lucia will agree with me. It's vast. The planet is massive, which means it's significantly different to all planets. And you already have a feeling that you've been here for a while. It's like content, and I didn't really do anything much so far. It feels like I've done a lot. Good size, I think. The experience of the planet is completely different. It's a bit like Fallout, a massive big world of Fallout. You can just walk, and you're doing nothing, but it still feels, my goodness, it's so much to do. So it's definitely very, very good addition to the usual here in the world. Quite like it. So what's this? Okay, maybe we'll walk. Yeah, a bit, or maybe not. Oh, look, that's a fantastic picture. That's really incredible. It's incredible, it really does. Look at it. I forgot to say that if you are a subscriber to the Ultimate, from last week we have Star Wars Squadrons accessible immediately, free of charge, out of EA Play. That's been integrated with Ultimate. If you are a fan of Destiny, you definitely want to try Squadrons and Battlefield, but Squadrons is brand new and I'm sure you're gonna love it. I watched some gameplay and I really thought it was incredible how they did that with the game. There have been some concerns with Battlefield 1, but I thought Battlefront, a big pun. Was Battlefront 2 was one. Got it on my PlayStation. Hey, it's a gift. Anyone who subscribes to services. Would have had it a few months free, but now I've got it both on my PlayStation and also on Xbox Game Pass. And always hop in if you're interested. Actually, I'll do that. Sounds good. Oh, he's immune. Well, not for long. See? That seemed good. Or is it? Mind you, a sniper in here as well. This weapon reminds me of some of the stuff I've got in Warzone. In fact, what is the weapon? Uriel's Gift. Quite good. Our friend Lucia says Europa really looks nice. I think apart from looking just beautiful, it is very functional. I think.
To experiment with the darkness.
Oh.
His efforts now roam free. Destroy them. They end us all.
We'll do this one, I think. Well, I'm just saying that in addition to looking beautiful, it is also very functional. It gives us this aura of content, and it's that they will have the planets also created in the future in the same. It's a very well. They wanted to have a lot of deathmatch content, and Destiny is moving away from death matches. They will stay in the Crucible, but the content will be tactical and strategic and vast. Open world type of gaming, because that's what's at the moment most popular, together with Battle Royale. I mean, Warzone is a Battle Royale, but it's in a major, massive big map. So it really is the combination of the two. And so Kapupu says the stream's lagging. Well, it's possible that lag, but I can also tell you. Can I just ask you, what device are you watching my stream on? Because I tested it yesterday and there was no lag on my stream display here, and also had some other people saying that they didn't see any lag on theirs. So, but there may be, you know, there may be some lag. I don't know. Are you watching it on? Or are you watching it on your? On what PC? I mean, on what device are you watching the stream? Laptop. And is laptop using separate internet network, or is it network that you're using for your game? Because if you're doing a game at the same time and you're using the same internet connection, like one connection, then it will lag. You know, because of the game. I can't destroy him. He's strong for me. So I need to go there. Lucia, are you getting a lot as well? Or is it just Sekapupu? Just curious. Maybe our friend Lucia could tell. Yeah, this weapon's quite like it. Almost as good as Cerberus. To see what's happening with that world event, which is just done here. We are going up there. Oh, I didn't pick up the flag. Is that what it is? Lucia says that sometimes it's lagging, but I think that it's lagging all the time. I can't help it, I'm afraid. we have very poor quality internet, and my just one. Waiting for fiber to be given to me, fiber to premises, but yet. So you know, I'm doing the very. My hands are tied. We have very poor internet. We have probably the worst internet in Europe, in Britain. Much worse than what they have in European countries. We certainly were the European Union. Because streaming is very taxing on bandwidth, and I need to have at least 5 upload for smooth streams, and I don't. And my friends Burst and Spanner, who you've seen in my squad, Warzone squads, they also have the same problem. They don't see, but they lag when we play the game, which means we get killed when we shouldn't. And we're all very frustrated about this, but there's nothing we can do because we can't have broad fiber optic in our local area. It's like not my area; it's like several areas of Britain. Spanner is in Midlands, Central England, and Spur Coast is in Norfolk, whilst I'm in London suburbs. So it's like 3 different areas, very far from one another, but still the same problem. And I think it's going to get much worse as we migrate from Project X and X5, PlayStation 5 consoles, because they will be much more taxing on speed, and they have higher quality graphics, so it's going to be a disaster. Because we are getting consoles and we do not have the infrastructure for them, if you know what I mean, because these consoles are absolutely 100% internet. Quite like those materials, pretty. So Kabupu says that I tried a different internet connection and nothing changed. Well, I mean, basically, the way I have it here is I have my console connected to the router, and this is through my wire. I have a wire connection to my router, right? And then I have all the devices switched off, right? Nothing else in the house that is connected. And then previously I had my tablet connected to Wi-Fi, which is a separate network here, home network, but it is in order to minimize interference. So I'm using 4G network for my display, right? So my display goes to the mobile operator, and my stream, my console, goes through the router in order to minimize interferences, and it's still lagging. I still get the lag because the speed of upload is too poor. The lagging speed is dependent on the type of game that you play. You will find that the RPG games with little PvP activity and different quality graphics don't lag at all. Whilst the games like Destiny, this game's been now tweaked for 4K access and for 8K access, so the graphics are unbelievably sharp and they're taxing on bandwidth, you know? So that's where the trouble is. Warzone is very similar. They have top-notch graphics and therefore they're very taxing on bandwidth, and therefore there's more lag taking place in there. Also, the other fact, if you do PvP, other people come in, you know, from other servers. So that's the trouble. And Lucio says, I used to freeze due to my bad PC, so I don't really notice it, but there is definitely some lag. Can you cap the quality of your stream to reduce lags? Well, the fact is, I was streaming for a short while, 360, and lots of complaints coming in from other viewers, and these are not my community, like random viewers on Twitch and YouTube and Periscope, and they said, stream because no one's going to watch this, because that it's all kind of fuzzy, muggy, very vague. So I had to go back to 460, and on PlayStation it is 560, I think, and that's just the highest I can have in order to get a picture which is bearable and to get as little lag as possible. To 720 or 1080, that's just not, you know, literally blocking everything all times. with a computer, the older slower processors, they will not play any of the new games, none. So it's just you know, you need to have i5 or i7 processor if you want to play this. It's going to work otherwise. Consoles are different because the processor is the latest, and what they're dependent on is the internet speed. So for PvP games and all other activities, there has got to be a proper fiber. You know, 5 to 10 I would say is minimum for a reasonable stream. That's 5 to 10 upload, and anything which is greater than 20 is a bonus. But when we do Warzone or when we do the Crucible, we have people who have 1000 upload. In fact, Danus D is this streamer I talked about. She's a young streamer from, I think, Latvia, and she does PUBG and shooters and that, and she has 1000 upload, and she has the best possible gaming computer. If you have a chance, go to Twitch and check out Danus D, right? You can't miss her. Put on Google Danus D. Danus D, and she does this, and you will see her picture is absolutely razor sharp, never any lag, and she's also having her webcam on as well as you know, the game. In addition to that, her speed, the way she's running, racing and doing things is just mouth-watering. On one hand, she has phenomenal skill. She's a younger person, you know, she's got reflexes and everything. But it's also the internet speed. You can really tell when she is kind of firing her shots at the enemy, they're all dying early because she's faster than them. She sees them before they see her. And she uses good weapons. She uses, obviously, keyboard and mouse for aiming, which is very, very precise. And you know, the results are incredible. But it's the combination of factors. It's her knowledge and skill. And don't forget, when she was even younger, she was literally honing her skill and polishing up the tricks on poor computers. So it was probably several years of poor computers and poor connection where she was really learning and in training herself. But once she got the top-notch computer and the top speed, she just rocked. She just literally obliterated everyone else, which is the case. And I think Sekapupu had the same problem, if I'm not mistaken, a little while back. Your internet connection was worse, and you were also grinding it like myself, and then once you changed the provider, you got better internet speeds, you could tell the difference straight away. And Sekapupu, I mean, we had lots of matches in PvP here, the Crucible, and then we've done some private matches where he was testing his snipers and various weapons, and you know, he would see me probably a second or second and a half before I see him, and then I would even not hear the shot, I'd be dead. But actually when he watches it on his kill cam, it's a different story. Give an example. When you watch Warzone later, when we stream, yeah, you'll be watching my stream, and you will see sometimes there's one shot, one kill. I hear one shot and I'm bleeding to death, and there's another shot and I die. Okay, so I hear two shots. Then I watch the kill cam. The kill cam's the recording of the other guy, right, on the Infinity Ward server. And what happens is I can see that he actually unloaded more than 2 magazines into me. So what does this tell you? He was firing off 2 magazines, and I haven't seen or heard anything but the shot that killed me because of the lag. I've heard 2 shots. He probably fired more than 30 rounds. Do you see what I mean? So that tells you this is the speed problem. If you see that on a kill cam and that doesn't match your experience, you will know he is on a much faster speed. It's nothing else, it's just the speed. This is frequently the speed of internet, but if you are on very fast speeds, it's the speed of the processor. But you will not have two shots heard on your stream or in your game and then 30 of the other if you're on fast fiber. You'll be probably discrepant by maybe 4 or 5. It is going to be the processing power. This is saying capping FPS is an option. No, actually, you can't really cap the frame rate if you are looking at the in-game adjustments, controller adjustments on FPS. It doesn't happen, and the reason for that is it's stream dependent. Basically, what you do is you're capping the resolution through which the stream is going to be happening on your device. So you will have your broadcast kind of pop up, your menu, and then you will be adjusting what resolution you want to have. And I think really streaming today on 240 or 360 is okay if you are having a community content and you just do just chatting, you know, that's fine because it's all about communication. But if you actually put a game of high quality like Destiny, you know, on 240 or 360, it's really off-putting. It's off-putting for me. I mean, yeah, I'd watch somebody who I really like in terms of the content, but I find it difficult to watch on a large screen. To watch it on your mobile phone is bearable. And I think Matthias and Captain Jack and various other community members from the US, they always watch my stream on their mobile, which has a tiny little screen, and they said it never bothered them. But if you were to be blowing up the stream to 55, 60, 80-inch TV, it's a different story. So that's where the difference is. Lucius says, I can agree that on a very bad PC like mine, almost every action set predictions. There's a lot of moments where I do not see my opponent due to my low FPS device, but I can win over him because I know he's here even if I don't see him. Well, absolutely. And this is what happens in the Crucible and in Warzone, in Apex. Don't forget, this is a massive big arena, and in a massive big arena you will have lots of different people participating, and amongst them there will be people who are lagging, people who have poor internet, or you'll have people who never tried the game before. They're like really poor skills, and they're just learning. And it does happen in the lobby, for instance, for PUBG and Warzone. You have people just standing that don't know what's going on, and obviously it doesn't matter what speed you have, you still be able to eliminate them. But don't forget, these are competitive games. You will have in Warzone, which is the most popular battle royale of today. PUBG for a good 2 years was the top game. Everyone's doing it, but ever since Warzone came along, it killed it. It killed it because, first of all, it's a bigger map. It works much better on the tech front. Everything is as it should be, and it's a game that is absolutely focused on the proper team effort and skill and knowledge and experience and everything else. And also the map is a proper urban environment map. It's a map of one section of Ukraine which has been reworked, and people enjoy that better. PUBG is a survival game, and it's not been performing on the technical front at all during the recent months. I've done it quite a bit recently. It was appalling. Plenty of bots, very many PC cheats, aim bots, all sorts of things rigged. I mean, I was getting killed instantly by aim bots as soon as I walked in, and I just hated it straight away. Also, some of my friends who are pro e-gamers, who stream PUBG and who are partnered with the company, they had complained openly about the problems with the PC cheats and rigs and technical problems, and they probably will be also migrating to Apex and Warzone in no time. But they still want to retain the partnership with the company, because in order to get partnership with the company, it's very difficult. It takes a lot of time and effort, and a lot of hard work and everything. And then if you depart, you're going to start from scratch with another game. It'll take probably 5-6 years for somebody to actually get the partnership with the company. I don't have partnership with Bungie. I support Bungie and Microsoft and PlayStation. I write to them regularly, all that. But it's based purely on calculations. So they have algorithm, and people are selected according to what algorithm says. So it's a number of hours of streaming, it's the quantity of streams, it's a type of interactions that they have. You can have like 5,000 messages coming in from 2 people in one chat. The algorithm is not interested. Do you know why? Because they want at least 2,000 or 3,000 people communicating. Do you see what I mean? So if you buy software that's rigging it, throwing in all kinds of false messages and constantly coming up, the algorithm will not know this, and they'll detect, oh, this is a very interesting channel. They'll come up with partnership schemes. Unfortunately, that's the way it's done today. Like criminality is always present everywhere, and criminals and people who are criminal-minded, they find the means, the ways to which they will basically defraud someone else. And this is the new way, similar to what you have with hacking of Android phones and the theft or the steals of bank account details through Android and various other things, which today happen rarely, but they do happen. People are not careful when they receive spam messages and they open certain links, and this virus gets in, snatches the details. So that's unfortunately what it is. And like you said, I also get kills in the Crucible, I get kills in Warzone, and it's all down to the other players being less experienced, lagging, being caught in crossfire, whatever. Therefore, I prefer to have in my squad at least one PC player, right, for the aiming and the speeds, preferably two. And I prefer to have everyone else, all three people, being on fiber, right? So if all of them on fiber and one is on the PC, they will be able to bridge the gap. They will be able to maintain the prevalence. And then I play stealthily. I'm always in the back. I'm watching everyone's back. I do target indication. I've got my snipe on. You've seen that actually, and Sekapupa knows this. I always, literally, I'm the most important member of the squad because they will rely on my recon. They will rely on me watching around them when they're up and about, finding where the enemies are, giving them targeting allocation, and then they will engage and do everything accordingly. The problem for me is I have these poor speeds and I'm very vulnerable because they're not watching over me. So I'm watching their back and they're not watching mine. But that's alright, that's just the way it is. If they're not too far, they can always come to my aid by providing cover fire. And but you know, the squads I have in Warzone at the moment, they're fairly new, and eventually they'll cotton on. I've played with some other squads in the past, and it's just a routine. It's a bit like when somebody opens fire, like in a real war, right? What you do is you start firing immediately towards wherever you heard the firing was coming from, because what will happen is the enemy will think that they're being detected, so they will stop firing, right? And this is the way you suppress the enemy for, you know, as short or as long as possible, for your teammates to basically leg it, to get away from that. The trouble in Warzone is you have all these factions fighting, and you give away your position, so what happens is you get whacked, right? Not by the team who you detected and suppressed, by the other that's chasing you after you gave away your position. That's the trouble with Battle Royale. You know, it's different if you're doing squad games which are just against another squad. Then it's a different story. But you know, in this instance, that's just the way it is. My goodness, it's been a very, very busy community day today. I've hardly done any gaming activity, and we'll try to finish this. Then I'll have to wrap it up because my Warzone session is just about to come up. But I actually did start it a bit later than usual, so I apologize to my Destiny fans. On the other hand, we had a wonderful community day, and that's the way I want it to be every single day. This channel is not about hammering the crucible of PvP. It's about us talking to our friends and exchanging views and experiences, and you know, making this world a much better place. That's what we do here. Right, so I'm curious to see where the portal is. I guess it's here. Or is it not? Oh, up there. Okay. Maybe we'll just leave these chums. Okay, where is the change my sensitivity a bit. It's a bit swivelly, a bit fiddly, a bit faster than before, but I don't want it too fast.
I'm picking up another transmission from Aramis.
To my Alexei sisters and brothers out amongst the stars and here at Europa, we have suffered a great loss today. Our beloved warrior was murdered by pawns of the once great. As always, they seek to eradicate us. Remember, light only burns bright, but this is forever.
Just want to draw the attention of my friends to this interaction. This is the new approach that Destiny is taking. As you are going through different areas, you're getting a lot more conversationalist type of content, a lot more interactivity. Don't know whether you tried this, but I was highlighting this yesterday. When you had Drifter and Ares sitting near the fire, they actually could talk to each other if you were talking to them. So you managed to get the dialogue, and the dialogue was very, very revealing. And also, as we are approaching different compounds, we're getting a lot more information through a variety of different gadgets and devices, like for instance that radio we've seen, and in here it was a transmission. So that's really cool. I really like the idea. I think it's gonna make this game a lot more enjoyable and I guess easily accessible. Just bear with me, this headset is causing me some serious problems. I'm really annoyed with the fact it doesn't want to sit on my head properly. I'm using two headsets in fact. One is for PS3, PS4 I should say, and the other is for Xbox, because my PS4 headphones are connected to Bravia, they're Sony proprietary, and then the other is connected to my controller. So it's a bit tricky, a bit annoying, as this thing needs to be sitting on my temple and I don't like that. Need to move it around a bit. Okay, so let me see what our friend says. Yeah, I saw a bit of your Warzone stream and you were giving a lot of information covering your allies with your sniper. Yeah, that's the idea. Well, we have a strategy. I've got two basic loadouts. One loadout is for stealthy gameplay, it's called Delta loadout, and the other is for more aggressive, upfront, attacking play, and that's called Charlie and Delta teams, you know. Generally, because of my internet speeds, I don't play Charlie at all nowadays. Although I will be Charlie if my friends are compromised. I come to the aid and rescue as soon as possible. Just bear with me, this headset needs to be adjusted. It really causing me problems in my head. I'll be back in a sec. Yeah, I think it will look better right now. Yeah, so I'll come to the aid of my friends as soon as possible, and if they're compromised, but otherwise I'll be playing a Delta team. As you would have seen, it's quite straightforward. You know, if I, for instance, see that they are being hit, and let's say they're downed and I'm like 150 away from them, I'll leg it immediately towards the other company. I'll try to suppress them from my first position so they would think I'm still there, and then I'll race towards them. So you suppress them from your original OP, the position you're holding, you throw in a grenade or something in a separate direction, and then after that you will be zigzagging and going to the friends, to your squad, in order to revive them, or indeed to do whatever necessary. Or if they, for instance, have hit any other guys who are also on the floor, make sure that they're eliminated. So that's the tactics. The trouble is, if you are facing a team of, let's say, two teams, and both of them are watching the activity on the ground, they are just literally relishing the moment when I'm coming to rescue, right? They might even read my mind. They might know that's exactly what I'm doing. And then as I approach my friends who are on the ground, I literally die in a hail of fire. But that's just a risk if you have that strategy, and the one who's watching everyone's back is always the most vulnerable. So cool. So this code is inside, right? Can we go in? Yeah, we are going to be able to go in. Praise exercise, look at that. Amazing. Enemies. A bit of in-game tutorial on what to do. Oh, got killed as well. This is a good way of doing it. Away. Literally walked into that exploding shank, which was a bit ridiculous. Shouldn't have done. Several exploding shanks in there. Oh yes, that's the other exploding shank. Should have been aware of this. Okay. It's quite good the way they've done it, actually. Quite. Oh, that was very close, wasn't it? Astonished I survived. Yeah, these ones are lagging as well. Did you see this? This seems to be right and proper. That's all been done, and this is the way to use your stasis. Remember, you freeze the enemies and you need to attack them. Lots of people complained about stasis on various internet-based forums since Tuesday, and the vast majority were solo gamers. Stasis is not for solo gameplay. Stasis is for community effort. It's similar to the tether we had on Hunter. It's going to basically freeze the enemy and the mates will be opening up on them. Remember that it's a weapon that needs to be used in a team. Without the team effort it doesn't really work properly, or as it should, or as you really would want it to be. As you could see, I was freezing the enemies, and then if I had another 1 or 2 teammates, they could just open up on them and all of them would just simply explode. So that's the idea behind it. It's a new subclass which is literally multiplayer specific. And you've got to be using it in a multiplayer, that's most important. So, and the communion, season rank, and now we need to regroup with barracks.
And so are you. If this is how we're going to do it, I'll be by your side. But we are toying with power neither of us understand, and I have no control over it. If anything happens to you, I may not be able to help, but I'll do what I can.
So once you get to barracks, we'll call it a day for today, and then we'll migrate to Warzone in about 10-15 minutes.
I can't imagine how it must feel for a Guardian to wield darkness.
It's not that now, is it? It's the other way. Lots of activities in here, but will be close to miss, and I now got killed because I miscued. No, I've got to be careful there with that crossing. Stick to the glaciers, stick to the walls and rocks. That's certainly what I would advise. Barracks should be out there.
I have seen what power has done to Aramis, but perhaps you are different. Perhaps there is hope. Praxis. He is the visionary mind behind Aramis's technology. He brings power from the darkness itself. But Varix was not privy to his secrets, his experiments. You must discover how he creates these dark weapons and stop him.
Alright my friends, so this is going to be a quest for another day. We'll do that tomorrow. Beyond Light, Varix is surprised and impressed that you managed to defeat Phylax. He now believes you may be capable of wielding stasis without being corrupted. He tells you that your next target is Praxis, the Elixni who created the technology that allows House of Salvation to wield darkness. Defeat him, so that is Praxis, defeat him and Aramis's plans will come to a halt. Varix believes he has been experimenting on the Vex, and if you disrupt his experiments, you might get his attention. Investigate praxis, the technocrats' plans in Asterian Abyss. So that will be the task for tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll actually spend a bit more time on the action. Today it was all about our community. I'm very, very glad to see that we've had Lucia and Sekapupu popping in, and I think from today on I'll have also a banner saying Xbox Game Club and PlayStation Game Club and PC Game Club. So we'll have all three lots involved, because when they see the stream title they think, oh, it's just for the Xbox gamers, but actually what we want to do is we want to join the communities of gamers from everywhere, because as we get cross-platform access and as we get obviously xCloud full capabilities, we are going to be able to do that from wherever we are. And you know, it's going to be excellent for anyone coming in on Android, because they'll be able to talk, and they'll be able to talk on audio as well as on chat, and that will be terrific. Our community will be exponentially growing, and we'll have a lot more fun really every single day. So you could see we completed this, and then we can probably get some bounties, but we'll leave that for tomorrow. So today we've had a lot of discussions which were, well, video gaming and gamer related, a lot of community content. We talked to our friends, we had a bit of action, we completed Exo Stranger quests, and now we are progressing down the route of barracks. So until then, I should say on that note, I will end our broadcast of Destiny for today, and hope to see you all tomorrow. We'll start around 10 o'clock, and today we'll carry on with Warzone. So be with us, stay here with our community on my channel. Warzone will resume in about 10 minutes. I need to have a short break, I need to have a bite to eat, and after that we'll carry on with activities in another battlefield arena. So until then, I wish you all a very, very good day.